Hey, Strummer Dundee here, and today we're on Caffeine Corner. We're making the basic brew, iced version today. Being caffeinated is hard. It's time consuming, it can be expensive, it can be annoying, it can fail sometimes and result in caffeine overdose in some situations. And overall, it can just be difficult. So this is the method I've devised over the years of needing caffeine to stay awake through studies or get up in the morning or go to work or do various other things when I just need something to wake up and I need it quick and I need it simple and I just don't have time for a lot of things, period. So this is what I call the basic brew, and this is going to be the iced version or just the not hot version. Because sometimes I don't even have time for ice. It just, you know how long it takes to make ice when you don't have an ice maker? Anyway, this is what we're doing today. So, a few things you will need. First off, some spoons of some sort to measure things with. I'm not very scientific when it comes to measuring. I've been known to pour coffee free-handedly, ground coffee that is, free-handedly, and just hope things work out all right. I'm also not a person who measures things by weight, so if you want that, I'll link, I don't know, that one Seattle coffee company thing that does all the fancy measuring. I'll link them down below and you can go figure out how to make real coffee. We're not here for real coffee. We're here for the basic stuff. We're here for I need to be awake in 15 minutes. Let me leave and go. So, got our spoons. Also, if you prefer to have any kind of sweetness in your coffee, I just have a little pack of stevia, sweetener, whatever. Sugar, whatever, nothing, entirely up to you. I am going to be leaving out dairy products in this case, mostly because I end up reusing like the cup I'm using several times throughout the day, and it's a lot easier to wash out and put things in it if there's not slimy like dairy residue in it. So again, just for simplicity's sake, maybe consider giving up dairy in your coffee, and it's a whole lot easier to reuse that cup without having to worry about it, washing it thoroughly, things like that. Another thing, which is my semi-secret ingredient, though not so much, is instant espresso. This is Caffè Bustelo, which is my preferred instant espresso. Also my preferred, like, actual espresso when I drink actual espresso. It says always pure and flavorful like no other, 100% pure coffee. It is also very cheap, though it is kind of hard to find in the big jars. So this is the 200 gram or 7.05 ounce one. A little hard to find in this. It's easier to find the smaller ones. But either way, I like it. I get it a lot. Something else you'll need is some kind of receptacle to brew your coffee in, because yeah, we're doing instant coffee. So there's a few different ways of going with the receptacle route. If you are in a hurry, if you're leaving, if you're going somewhere, of course you're going to need something with a lid. I usually prefer some kind of double-walled vessel that can keep things cold and has a pretty secure lid. I like having it with a straw on it, but if that's not an option, you can also get a flip-top one. So one example of that would be this one by Aladdin. I don't know. But this has plastic on the outside, so if you're clumsy like me and you drop things, it's okay because it won't break the glass wall on the inside. It has this little boop flip top, so this is just, that's where the glass starts, in there, and when I wash it, it actually unscrews on the bottom, and that's how you get the glass part out to thoroughly wash it. So that also solves some, how do I wash in between the walls of the double wall tumbler issue? A bottle like this is nice. Fill it up with coffee, whatever. If you don't put dairy in it, if you don't put anything in it, it's really easy also to wash out and refill with water, because hopefully you drink this much water at least after you've after you've had this much coffee. So recommendation for that. Today, since I am not going anywhere after this, I am not leaving my house anymore today, I'm going to be using my favorite drinking vessel after my goblet broke a long time ago. And it is this gigantic skull cup. Ooh, I just like it. It's also already filled with water. That's how much coffee I want, so that's how much water I have, because this is going to be instant. And I also have one more secret ingredient that we'll have at the end. So, you have your vessel with water in it. Instant espresso. Now, if you look on here, I don't even know if it says preparation in a coffee cup, add 1 teaspoon of Cafe Bustelo, instant coffee to 6 fluid ounces of hot water or milk. Stir and enjoy. You can go by those guidelines if you want. I'm taking this, which is a coffee scoop, and coffee scoops always have about 2 tablespoons of volume in there. So I'm going to get my 2 tablespoons and boop, dump it right in there. I also have a high caffeine tolerance, so I'm going to do something maybe not feasible by other people's standards and do that again. I would adjust to your liking. Make sure you're not harming yourself with caffeine. I'm going to make another video at some point about caffeine poisoning / caffeine overdose / caffeine just feeling really sick and becoming sick because you've had too much caffeine. I'll make a video on that. So, we're done with our coffee scoop. I always forget there's no round bottom, so it can't really... there we go. So we're done with our coffee scoop, and now we have just a regular spoon. I have my little stevia packet. If you are doing just regular white sugar, it's not going to dissolve very well. I don't care, personally. Like, if I'm using sugar, I don't care if it doesn't dissolve very well. I don't know. It's just like a mystery pack of how sugary is this part going to be as I drink it. Especially if you're drinking through a straw and you just get a bunch of sugary bits at the bottom. It's like, oh, this is super sweet. It's not that important to me. Taste is really a secondary factor when it comes to this type of basic brew, as I have said. This is definitely more about, I cannot bring myself to do said activity, I must have coffee. So this isn't taste good coffee. This is doesn't taste awful, will be very quick and effective. So I've stirred that in very briefly. The stevia dissolves pretty decently. If you want to try to use like simple syrup is the best to use for any kind of cold or, in my case, not hot coffee or tea or really anything. You can Google very easily how to make simple syrup anywhere. It basically involves boiling down sugar and water. I used to have simple syrup at one point. I, for some reason, never got the ratio down. I can eyeball like regular sugar way easier than I can eyeball simple syrup. I don't know why. I just never got it down. But it can be useful if you really want your drinks to be sweet. Anyway, here's my secret ingredient, a little extra step. This is a Stoke. I don't know if it's gonna focus. Anyway, take my word for it. This is a Stoke black coffee shot. It says limit 2 per day, equivalent to 1 shot of espresso. I bought a pack of these from Sam's Club, probably. You can also get them online. Stoke does cold brew coffee in various flavors and no flavors. They also do a bunch of these little pods. This isn't like a Keurig pod or anything like that. It's also not creamer. It's literally just concentrated black coffee. So this is equivalent of adding a shot of espresso to your drink. Now, let's do some math. You remember I put in 4 tablespoons of this stuff. 1 teaspoon of this is equivalent to about a shot of espresso. This is equivalent to about a shot of espresso. So I'm adding this to what I already have in here. It's quite a lot of shots of espresso that I have going on right now. But keep in mind, espresso does not have quite as much caffeine as coffee. Also, I'm going to be drinking on this for a long time. Like this, I'm not having any more caffeine today. I do not recommend doing this and then going and drinking an energy drink or even drinking any more coffee or soda or whatever after this. Even though I can never even tell that there's caffeine in soda. But that's me, high caffeine tolerance. So this is really easy. You peel that off right there. dump it in, a little bit of a splash. You can stir it in or not stir it in. It doesn't matter too much. I guess if you have a lot of flavoring, it might somewhat affect or slightly dilute the flavoring in your coffee. And this is what we have as our end result. Coffee as big as my head. It is not very sweet at all. I could probably put in 1 or even 2 more stevia packets or quite a bit more sugar, but I know that this is adequate caffeine to keep me going throughout the day. So that is it for my basic brew. I say iced edition because at this point most people would, put in some ice in here. You can stir it around to really chill down your drink. Or you could even put it in like some kind of shaker thing and shake it with ice. That would make it 1, foamy, and 2, slightly foamy, and 2, cool it down very quickly. I don't have time for that. I'm cool enough. I don't need anything to cool me down. I'm inside. There's air conditioning. I'm good. I also really hate getting diluted coffee, so that's annoying to me. If you're concerned about diluted coffee but you really want ice cubes, there's always the age-old trick of making some of this and freezing in ice cube trays. I highly recommend silicone ice cube trays. Actually, let me show you my silicone ice cube trays real quick. Be right back. I'm back. So, silicone ice cube trays, you can get them in a variety of places. I got mine in a kind of 2-pack actually a 4-pack from Amazon, but they're really easy. They make very, very dense ice cubes and you can pop them out really nicely. They would be perfect to go in some coffee, especially, if you're making them out of coffee. I also have, this is kind of a fun thing, this is a D20 mold. Probably won't be able to see it, there's some frost on there, but there are numbers inside. You might just barely be able to see the numbers inside. And it interlocks like, let me line it up. Interlocks like so, and you fill it with water at the top, freeze it, and you have a D20 dice, 20-sided die, to pop out and put in your drink. So that is another fun little thing. I think I need to try this inside one of these types of bottles. I think it would just get lodged somewhere, so it would make all the coffee that flows past it really cold and nice. So that is it for today. Here's how to make the basic brew iced version, or just not cold version. I'm gonna drink this giant skull of coffee over the next long amount of time, and I'll see you in another video.